Well, good morning, everybody. And it's time with Teepa. Ooh, today I got a question in recently, and it's one I get in pretty frequently. What's the actual difference between MCI and early dementia? Really good question. And quite honestly, um, I'm going to give you my answer, which is all in the eye of the beholder. I have worked with people who supposedly have MCI, who, when I work with them, the level of change, the difficulty that they have doing things they've always done historically, and the way they've had to change how their life is going, or those around them are really struggling to support them, that says to me, wow, um, I don't think that's a mild cognitive impairment anymore. That feels more like a condition where the brain change is so significant, the person has had to change how they live their life. Now, they may not be to a place yet where they can't do a daily routine, such as mouth care, face care, body care, eating, drinking, going to the bathroom on their own, that kind of thing. But they are having significant problems and challenges trying to do things as they've done them historically, maybe with transportation or money management and or shopping and or looking at the responsibilities they might have for children or animals or home or house, or trying to prepare a meal, or maybe trying to get someplace cleaned up or do laundry. I mean, some of those things may be fine, some may be impaired. So when does it transition from a mild cognitive impairment to one where, ooh, this clearly the person cannot live life as they have lived it? And for me, I think I have to look at the individual and really be aware. If you're a college professor and you can't teach physics classes anymore, or you're a high school teacher and you are having explosions of frustration with your students, whereas you used to be able to negotiate how to work with kids that were struggling with their own prefrontal cortex and how to do things. Or if you're a retired person and you no longer are wanting to go do anything because it's just too much work. And yet, is it because it's too much work or because you can't quite figure out how to do it? Well, to me, those are all indications of something more than a mild cognitive impairment. They speak to me of a brain change that is changing your life. And so in that case, I say, wow, I think we have some early neurodegeneration, or at least, ooh, I think we should look deeper and harder at what's going on. Is this something that's resolvable, fixable? Is this something that if we just get gears turning, we can figure out? Maybe it's blood sugars, maybe it's blood pressure, well, maybe it is something that we need to acknowledge is happening. And we need to be prepared for living with that change that can't be fixed right now. So for me, I think all too often in a doctor's office, if the person can still carry on a conversation and still has some skill sets and doesn't score badly on some of the quick screening devices that are out there, it might be easy to say, well, it's just mild cognitive impairment. But I think it's really important to investigate a little deeper, to actually evaluate and assess, how is this impacting someone? Not really bothering how they go about living because their life is simple, or not really bothering them because they still have a lot of skills. Well, then that might be MCI. However, for an individual who's really being devastated by getting feedback or messages or their own recognition that something is really different for me, I can't do things like I used to, and I'm not liking it. I'm not really feeling comfortable anymore. I'm so uncomfortable that it's almost painful. To me, that's the need to realize that's not mild cognitive impairment. That's early signs of brain change that should be addressed as such. And figure out, is this a deep dive to evaluate? Or is this at least an acknowledgement and a recognition? Wow, the support needs to be different. The program needs to be different. The expectations need to turn to assessments, and we need to figure out what are we going to do differently so that we end up being in the right place at the right time with the right support and the right care. Because those around the individual most certainly have an opportunity here to realize, this might be something that's progressive. This might not. But if I can't handle well what's going on now, what's going to happen if I don't do a little preparation and then initiate something that I can participate in that will allow me to be a better support person for myself, if nothing else? So that's my take on the difference between MCI and early signs of actually tipping over and starting to have neurodegeneration that may be consistent with the dementia. Now, I'm not saying it's clean and straightforward, but I am saying look at the individual. Be truly person-centered. Do something that's radically different. Don't just go with the flow of, well, he just figured it out. We just got our diagnosis and it's just MCI. It's just MCI. Well, here's a reality check. About 75% of everyone with MCI does progress into dementia. I think it all depends where you're sitting when you're looking at the situation to some extent. And I think it's what we choose to do about this thing we're all scared of, apparently, called dementia, which to me is just, well, that's something I wish somebody didn't have. But if they do, we'll figure it out. Because without that, not sure where to go. Till next time, take care with your care, take care of yourself, and send in questions, because that's how I have content. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Or maybe go seek some support. That may be exactly what is needed.